Spitalfields market was built in the 12th century, named after Mary Spittal, but much has changed since then. Much of the market was destroyed by the Great Fire of London in 1666 and took almost 200 years to complete rebuilding. It wasn't until the late 19th century until it was finished. The surrounding area was very cheap to live in and settle businesses in, which led to the settlement of many different cultures. And these include the Huguenots, as we can see here, the Irish, the Jews, and more recently, Bangladeshis, along with other ethnic minorities.
Start by telling us how long you've been working here.
I've been working here for 21 years. I've been managing for the past 18 years, which is basically when we first started. The old sort of like the fruit, when it was the fruit and veg market, that moved out, and then there was like a 8 years gap before it was then re-let. It was actually only supposed to be like a 5-year period whilst they decided what to do with the building. But luckily the roots to the market went quite deep, so we're still here.
Would you say that there was a wide variety of cultures in the market?
Oh, for sure, yeah. I mean, predominantly today with antiques, it's more UK, for want of a word, white indigenous population that's here. The rest of the week you'll have every colour, creed, nationality, religion, faiths, everything like that. But the one thing that I insist upon is, not insist, that's probably the wrong word, but I basically say that when you work in Spitalfields, what you have to do is, we're so diverse, you leave your religion and your politics at the gate. You can pick them up on the way out again, but they don't play a part of Spitalfields life. We don't promote politics in here, we don't promote religions. That is one of the reasons why I think we get on so well with the diversity. We've got Italian, French, German, Dutch, Asian, African, American, Canadian, Australians, New Zealanders, all working on the market. You know, pretty much harmoniously. We do get the odd, you know, it's not all peace and love all the time, and that's up to me to deal with those things as well. But when you're working with such a diverse group, you tend, I do anyway, pick up the little idiosyncrasies of how you have to approach different people in a different way, you have to speak to some people in a different way. Or they answer when their English is different. Like, a lot of Chinese people are accused of being rude. It's not, it's just the way they talk. They talk very staccato, fast. I always tell people, like, if you're in a Chinese restaurant, it sounds like World War III in the kitchen. They shout at each other, but it's just the way they talk.
Exactly, yeah.
So it's things like that you have to get used to.
Probably a difficult question to answer, but what do you find the most interesting part of the market?
Well, for me, the most interesting part is working with the people themselves, and also seeing somebody grow from. You get a lot of people come in, they're quite timid at the start as a stall owner. They might just have left university, they're a designer, and they don't really know how to get on with the public, and it's to see them toughen up and then move out of here, you know, into a shop, or they get picked up by a fashion house. And that I think is always good to see, because the market itself is organic. You know, we sort of reproduce new designers, new creative people, you know, in any of the walks of life. I always like to see them get on and improve, rather than sort of think that, you know, oh, I've got to be selling this item for the rest of my life. Well, no, they don't. Having said that, there are a lot of people who are here a long time, but they prefer the freedom of working for themselves.
That's not their choice.
Yeah, and the rent is like a daily rental. They're not contracted to, you know, a year's rent or anything like that. They can be their own creative selves. They can, you know, work how they want to work. It's the individuality of them, and they themselves come from very diverse backgrounds. You'll get ex-city boys, you'll get ex-teachers, ex-policemen, ex-rock and roll people, you know, musicians that have gone out of that, working on the market as well. So yeah, quite a diverse group.
Do you have anything interesting to say about the surrounding areas or the history of the place?
The history of the place is a lot older than I am, because obviously we're in, you know, the main thing that everybody talks about is Jack the Ripper territory, because we're in the heart of that, where some of the murders were committed, some of the buildings are still here. Unfortunately, we're going to lose another one of them when they redevelop the big building across the road, the Fruit Exchange. One of the localities where one of the murders took place is at the back of that, and that's all going to get knocked down. But I think they're going to try and retain that in some sort of exhibition form. The whole area is steeped in history. It's got one of the highest predominance of artists in the whole of Europe. I mean, people think of art, you think of the left bank in France, and we think of the Italian and that. But actually, Whitechapel's short at Spitalfields, it's got one of the highest predominances in the whole of Europe. So you love that. You get a lot of media, art people. I just noticed yesterday in one of the papers that Keira Knightley's just recently got married. She's moving up to here. Now she's been a visitor here for years, because we've actually seen her on the market. So obviously visiting here, she's not going to live here. So there is that sort of community here. You've got the Huguenots that were the original silk weavers that moved in here. There's still quite a history of them here. And then you've got all the different groups that came to live in here, because we're being near to the docks. They used to come up and stop there, and then it was the nearest housing to the dockland. So you had like the Jewish influence after a while. There was a Chinese, there was an Irish. Now it's very Bengali, Bangladeshi influence along Brick Lane. So you have these cultures that come in, and they all add to this big mix that's in this area.
And I think that would cover everything, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Eric.
No, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This is the Museum of Immigration, and apparently it won't be open until next month.
The Immigration Building is a Grade 2 listed building, which explains why it's still here, but doesn't have the funding to remain permanently open. That's why they're trying to raise £3 million to keep this place open, so people can know about immigration and diversity in London.
Fantastic, thanks for that, Will.
Immigration laws were relaxed in the 1970s, and this led to a massive influx of Bangladeshis. But things weren't always easy for Bangladeshis. Behind me we have the Altab Ali Park, and this park is the commemoration of a guy called Altab Ali, who in the late 70s was a victim of racial abuse. He was actually unfortunately involved in a situation on the way from home where he was attacked by some neo-Nazi racialist abusers. And since then, shortly after his funeral in 1978, he was actually the one that provoked 7,000 people to march from here all the way to Hyde Park in commemoration, and as a show that kind of behaviour was not on. But this created a divide, a massive divide, a no-go area for Bengalis. It's not like that today. It's not a no-go area, but there is still a divide. As we see behind us, or behind you, I'd say, we actually see the start of Brick Lane, and it's very fair to say that this is very much still a divide. And to the right, we see all kinds of areas down the Whitechapel Road which are full of Bangladeshi shops. But however, in the other direction toward Aldgate, it's very well developed, and you can see just tiny bit of the Gherkin there, along with other large glass buildings. A very clear actual example that this area is much more developed and is not inhabited by the same kinds of cultures.
Yeah, so how long have you been living in Whitechapel or this area?
Actually, I'm living from 1976.
Wow, so quite a long time then.
Yeah.
And I suppose you've seen it change quite a lot over the years.
Yeah, of course, lot of building demolished, lot of building built up, and the area much developed, and mixed people living here. 70% people here, foreign, and 30% is the country of origin.
Yeah, indigenous, yeah. What would you say is the main thing that's changed in the 70s till now? And what was it like living in the 70s in Whitechapel?
Things is construction, lot of construction, buildings, and buildings. This building is built up is about 90s.
Yeah.
This kind of lot of building has been done. Otherwise, lot of building was demolished because of the Second World War.
Yeah.
So after Second World War, they gradually build up the area and they build up the buildings. That's all.
Yeah.
And lot of people come from, before after 96, lot of people wasn't here. So now many people are here.
Yeah.
They have a very problem for the housing, because all people are from Europe and the other city of like the Birmingham, Manchester as well. They are coming up here.
Yeah.
Because they have a lot of job opportunity.
He went on to say that when he moved there in the 1970s, the Jewish community were the main traders in the textile industry. During this period, many buildings still hadn't been renovated after World War II. Shortly after, due to the growing population of Bengalis, the East London Mosque was built in 1985. When asked what the future holds for the Whitechapel area, he said there is a constant change and the community is likely to be Somalian or Algerian.